We called you because one of our editors like said na, oh, you have to check out Pastor Jasper. You have to check out his Instagram account because he's doing so much good and parang it's very interesting what you're doing. And not only that, parang the life you live is super like all over the world. You've been to North Korea.
It's crazy. It's
crazy.
Yeah.
So that's like the story we want to hear.
Yeah, it's a long story, but I'm here in Palawan because of COVID. I have no place to travel, and so I've decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go. It's supposed to be just a few days trip, and then I met with my friend who's a helicopter pilot. So I was struggling trying to find Daniel. So I was trying to find an opportunity to travel around, and I actually. When you've traveled so much and before COVID, I've been to like 50 countries in 3 years with a Philippine passport. That's almost unheard of,
Right.
because we have a very weak passport.
Right.
And then I was like, dude, how do I do this? Because I got so depressed when everything was closed. Actually, during COVID, I was able to chip in maybe like 15 countries. I was trying to find countries that are open enough for people to come in. And all of a sudden, everything was closed. I went to Tanzania because Tanzania doesn't believe in COVID as a country. And so I went there and I was like, man, this is so cool. I was wearing mask. I remember going to Tanzania and the people was like, no mask here. We don't believe in COVID and all that kind of stuff. So it's unreal. It's like 2019. So I get to travel around and then COVID hit and I got stuck in the Philippines. So
Pero ang
that's
ganda
what I
ng
would
mga
say.
shots mo. I saw your vlog. Like, it's very well produced. Like, there's
Oh,
only
thank
one
you.
video on your YouTube channel, diba?
Yeah, there is one.
Yeah,
There
and
is
it's
one,
all
yeah.
about the jungle school you're building.
Yeah. So the whole idea is, so as what I've said, the whole reason why I'm here is when COVID struck, I got into deep depression because I can't travel anymore. It's like, what in the world do I do now? No, it's like taking rice away from Filipino. If you've experienced not eating rice for 1 week, you go mental. And it's like, for me personally, that was, I was like, man, I struggled with it so much. It's like, what do I do? And then I got in contact with people from Waves for Water, and a friend of mine who runs it said, hey, I can give you an opportunity to travel in Palawan and process the paper for you and all that. And so I had an opportunity to go here, do the nonprofit work, the NGO. And then I met up with my friend Daniel, whom I promised I'll film his story 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I was here in Palawan. I was filming a whole story, and I promised him, dude, I have no time left, but I'm coming back to film your story. That was 6 years ago. So I said, hey, I want to fulfill that promise and film your story. And I went there and said, I only have 4 days because I have to go to the U.S. I have to go to this job that was offered to me, fly there. And as we were flying to in the jungles, man, I really felt the need there. And I was like, man, this is crazy. Kids are getting married at the age of 14. I've heard stories of kids getting married at the age of 10. And I was like, dude, this is nuts. And I remember Martin Luther King Jr. says, if you liberate a man, you set him free. So the only way the group of people or a people be liberated is through education. You educate them. And I was like, man, what do I do? I could give medicine, because what we did was like, we give medicine, we give food, we give rice, but it needs more than that. I think that there needs to be just more than just food. And I thought about something, why don't we build a jungle school? And so I opened it up in my social media. I only have a humble, 9,000 followers during that time. And I was like, man, I'll present it to my friends. And so I presented to them, dude, I have this crazy idea to build a jungle school. Would you want to be part of this? The next day or the next 2 days, I have 500,000 pesos.
Wow.
That's
And I
amazing.
only posted it.
Ang bilis.
I only posted it on Instagram stories,
That's cool.
which expires
Wow, the
every
power of
24
social media.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we doubled it to 1 million.
Wow. So you're
Yeah.
planning to build more schools?
Yeah,
Is
so
it
that
an
the
ongoing
plan.
thing pa?
Yeah, it's currently ongoing a thing. We have built the teachers' quarters, but we have not built the school yet. So the amazing thing is that the locals themselves asked for the school. And they were like, "Hey, we want to please build us a school." And it's so inspiring how they really wanted to have a school because none of them can read. The kids are growing up not reading. And it's a problem in Brooks Point, which is the southeast part of Palawan, because the people there, they go to the hospital and they don't know how to speak, so they get intimidated, and so they get how do you call that? This discrimination between the lowlands and the people from the mountains. And so the people would rather die than go to the hospital because they're
Kasi
they're
parang
so
mapahiya
afraid.
lang sila. Right?
Yeah, they're so
yes.
afraid. They don't know how to read. I was talking with some of the locals. They said they would hike 8 hours. They sell their pechay for 25 pesos per kilo. And
For 8 hours.
They
Yeah,
hike
for 8 hours. Yeah, dude,
and then
it's
they
so
get
far.
25 pesos lang.
Per kilo.
and some of them they get disadvantage. Like people take advantage of them because they don't know how to write or read, and they don't know how money looks like and all that kind of stuff, right?
Ooh.
And it's a
that's
big
so
struggle.
sad.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I feel sad. And then you see the kids; they have babies, 2 babies at the age of 14, and I'm like,
What?
bro, yeah, because some of them marry at the age of 10. This is part of the culture.
Who's arranging these marriages? The parents? Or
Yeah,
gusto nila?
I think part of it is the parents too, because there's dowry, right? So if you have a girl, a child, then you can almost like sell them for whatever you want. Like, oh, I want cows, I want 2 chickens, or whatever. You know, so it's almost like,
my God.
you know, so it's really sad. That really broke my heart. Because I was like, man, I'll go to Africa, go to all these places in the Amazon and in Bolivia and all these places that I could serve, but I'm not serving my own people, right? And I'm
Yeah,
like, man, what do I do? And then that really, like seeing patients, like sick and they dying because for the lack of knowledge. Because
Right.
you know, when you get sick, they just pass you around to different witch doctors, and you just die because they don't want to go to the hospital. And to see that, and I'm like, man, what can we do? I can give them food, and that's it. But maybe we could build them a school. And I found two teacher volunteers who's willing to go. And I was like, dude, let's do this, you know. And the fund will give them a salary for a year. I mean, stipend, really. It's not really that big. So that's the whole idea.
Pero
That's so
it's an
cool.
ongoing thing. Like, if we wanted to donate, how would we go about it?
So we have an organization that I worked with called Philippine Adventist Medical Aviation Services. It's an aviation humanitarian effort. So a friend of mine, Daniel, he's a helicopter pilot. He's from the U.S. and he left his job to serve the people. And to, you know,
Wow.
we go to the remotest parts of the Philippines or to the islands of Palawan, and we rescue people out of the mountains, bring them to the hospital. So that's the whole idea. And on the side, they build schools. So we already have 3 schools up there in jungle. So Brooks Point, I'm adding 1 because it's the other side of the mountain. So it's an ongoing project. Yeah, it's an ongoing project.
That's crazy because when you think of Palawan, the last thing you think about is building schools. Like, I've never heard of, you know, people getting married at 10 in Palawan, because when you think of Palawan, the only thing people think about are beaches and, you know,
Or the
the
city
rock
or the beach.
formations.
Yeah,
Or,
there's nothing in
it's
between.
always
For sure.
tourism, you know?
Yeah.
Like, nobody really thinks about, oh, may
Yeah.
tao pala dyan sa bundok-mundukan.
Oo.
Diba?
Like, how many people are there? Like, itong
So-
project mo.
It really depends. My area, the area that I'm working with, it's like maybe around 60 kids. But maybe the one that will be enrolled around 30. But that does not include parents, because we'll teach their it's a literacy school, and it's ALS, ALS, alternative learning system. So they can proceed to high school if they like after that.
Right.
Wow.
How do you find teachers for these sort of things? Because I understand, like, they're gonna have to leave their homes as well and like live
Yeah.
in the mountains.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so we have teachers that have dedicated their lives for this work. It's crazy. Currently, we have like 9 teachers on different jungle schools, and these are board passers. You know, they've passed the board, they've finished their exams, everything, but they've really dedicated their lives to this work. They like it. They like the adventure. So I mean,
Kasi
They were
syempre
like,
when
"Hey,
you're
full
there,
set."
there's no, walang kuryente, di ba? I'm guessing. Walang kuryente, walang
Yeah,
toilets,
wala.
walang plumbing.
It's like camping
Yeah.
siguro, no?
Yeah, but we do have buildings. We built a school, so we have toilets and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
facilities. Very very simple though. It's not really that fancy because it's hard to airlift heavy equipments.
Yes, I was just about to ask. How do you
How do you
build
get
some...
things there? Exactly.
Yeah.
Oo
So
nga,
the
no?
wood alone is so difficult to get. It's hard.
Pero you have to follow Pastor Jasper. What's your Instagram account, Pastor?
Oh,
It's
PSTR Jasper. It's a code name for pastor. Wink, wink.
Ah, okay. PSTR Jasper.
Yeah,
Kasi
PSTR
account niya,
Jasper.
ang ganda ng mga photos from all over the world. And yung mga stories niya, like just today, yung stories niya is pumunta sila sa, naka-helicopter sila,
Yeah.
going to this jungle area where ginawan sila ng landing strip by the locals, di ba? Sabi ko, sobrang high budget naman nitong ano na to, foundation na to,
Oo, kasi
naka-helicopter.
naka-helicopter. Pero kung isipin mo rin, paano ka pupunta doon kung hindi naka-helicopter?
Yeah, tama.
Yeah.
Oo.
Just a little idea so you have a little mental picture of how it looks like. 1 minute in the helicopter is equals to 1 hour hike in the jungles. So, you think about a 10-minute hike, how long will that take? Right?
Right. So yung 8
So,
hours
like,
nila, 8 minutes lang sa helicopter.
Yeah.
Oo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's very short. That's almost the ratio. It's very remote, very, very far. And people hike to these mountains.
If you guys want to hear the full episode, you can
Check us out on Spotify.
Spotify.
It's free, guys. It's free.
See you there.
Podcast.
SKYPODCAST.